Hello, guys. I'm Lisa.
And I'm Natasha.
And we were wondering.
Are you free for coffee?
Welcome, welcome.
Hey, guys.
Ooh, guys, this week we are talking about And Just Like That, which is the reboot of Sex and the City.
Yes.
There has been lots of buzz about this, lots of chatter on the internet, some for, some against.
Yeah.
So we're here. We're going to unpack all of it.
Now, this is from two different perspectives, which makes this really fun. One is Lisa has actually seen Sex and the City, like the original. I have not. I've never seen an episode of Sex and the City. So I feel like
because I'm the age of Sex and the City. So all of it is age appropriate for me.
Yes.
Because when they were, in their 30s, although I was married then, but it was still applicable, and relatable for me because it was the same age. I was in the same age group as I am now with them. So,
and I guess for me,
that's kind of where
it's fun to not be. Like it's fun that I heard all this stuff about Sex and the City and looking at it now, only looking at this because I've never seen Sex and the City. There's no point in me going back and watching it. I still have an appreciation for how real it is in terms of these are age appropriate problems.
Yes.
Like my brother, everyone's, thinks my brother's the hot one, whatever. Well, he has knee problems. And so we were talking about working out. I was like, oh, do you still do this, do that? He's like, not with this knee. And it was kind of like, what? Like my brother's always been really, really good shape. He's a Marine, kind of a lifelong military. I mean, really, he's been a Marine forever and then transitioned to the Navy. But, he was just like, oh, my knee, I can't do this. I can't do that. And I was like, this is where we are now. This is this. And so the show very much so dives into the reality of what you're facing. Just if you live a little, stuff's going to happen.
Right.
So
with your body.
I do love that.
Well, what I'm hearing, there's a lot of younger people, millennials, that have discovered Sex and the City because the reruns are out there.
Right.
And of course, they are experiencing what they're going through then.
Right.
The single women in the city and your love life.
How long ago was that, by the way? How long ago?
Oh, gosh. Well, the last movie was 15 years ago.
Okay.
So it was, it's
and I'm just putting that out there for people like me who've never seen the show.
At least 20 years ago.
20 years ago.
20 years plus.
From the start of the show, at least 25 years ago.
I would imagine, yes.
So
anyway, they're having issues with the girls as they are now.
Right.
And what I'm feeling is millennials and people that watch TV, when they see mature women, the only mature women they see are like the Real Housewives of whoever.
Yes.
And which those women, they're still like high schoolers to me, which is why I can't watch it. But that is what they think women that age behave like.
Yes.
So that's the comparison.
Which, guys, if you see me acting that way, please put me out of my misery.
Right. So to me, that's kind of the thing.
I agree.
Why is this happening? Why are they doing this? And
whatever.
To me, I think what's going on in their lives is so appropriate.
It's real life shit.
Women this age, there's widows, people die.
Yeah.
People become disabled. People have divorced and remarried, and there's you have older children.
Yes, older children.
You have there's a plethora of things that have happened. You have lived a life.
Yes,
let's say. So I think I love
and that is what I love
see
about it.
that they're addressing those things. I think it's so great that finally, and what's so beautiful to me is women of a certain age, as they say, they're still very fashion conscious.
Mm-hmm.
They're still beautiful. They're
Yeah.
sexy while they're experiencing these real life things.
Yes.
And I love that.
So my mom is older, said this before, but I think the beauty of my mom being older is I remember in high school, we had a teacher, and I think he was 31. And everyone's like, oh my God, you're old, you're 31. And I'm like, how the hell is 31 old? At the time, I'm like, my mom's 56 years old. Like, how is, to me, 31 was not old. And I think a lot of women have like this kind of midlife crisis when they're like, holy shit, if I live past 30, I'm not going to look like I did at 15, 16, even 20, 25. I love that the show, to me, they're appropriately dressed. They've all aged. They're not supposed to look the same. That would be a turnoff for me. You still have the chance to be sexy. Like you still have the chance to.
Oh, they're beautiful. They're beautiful. Yes. They have gray hair. They have a few wrinkles.
One of my best friends has had gray hair since we were like 20, and it is. She's very beautiful, just kind of perfect chocolate skin. And so, if you can imagine the contrast of being 21 years old, head full of gray. The other day, she's redoing her license, and she said, "Well, shoot, I guess I need to put gray." She's like, "Ain't really no black there now, you know." But I love, she used to diet, which I get when you're 20. I mean, we were 20 years old, literally. She had gray hair. But now she does, I love it. It's like one of my favorite things about her. To me, it makes her beauty.
Yeah.
And to see gray hair, you know, it used to be like you make people look old. You know, think about, oh my gosh, Betty White, Golden Girls. Couldn't think of this. Sophia, if you actually look it up, Sophia wasn't that old. Even though she played Dorothy's mom, she was younger than her. And it used to be you hit a certain age and you had to be this little old lady. And I love that that's not what they're doing with this.
Yes.
As you shouldn't be.
Yeah.
Like,
well, and I think the wrinkles or the crow's feet, it's just a life well lived.
Mm-hmm.
And I don't mind it at all. I think they're still gorgeous.
They are. And it's realistic.
It's very realistic. But we just want to talk to y'all about it. So, you know, the second episode, they killed Mr. Big.
Yes.
Spoiler alert. If y'all don't know, I don't know, you've been hiding under a rock because it's been on, it's on everything.
If you're like me and you never watched it before, because I have questions for you as a non-viewer.
So Big was the love of Carrie's life.
Yes.
So the whole Sex and the City, the series, it was really her pining for Mr. Big, yes. Kind of. So really that was her happily ever after. And we were glad to see it. And they were still married and, you know, the whole thing after the movie 15 years ago. So they kill him off. She's single now. And they're just going through changes. All of them have things going on in their life. So she's a newly widowed woman.
Yes.
Which she's still reeling from his death, which you would be.
And he was not sick. It was a sudden
heart
death.
attack, which that happens.
Yes.
So we're kind of experiencing that with her. Now, the big thing, Miranda, this is what we want to talk about. Finally, y'all, there are women of color on Sex and the City.
Spoiler alert.
Right? But what I love is all the missteps and hiccups that go along with it. They did not just make it really smooth, and I love that. Miranda steps in it, puts her foot in her mouth, says the wrong thing. That's life. And that's what happens. And as women of color, that's happened to us. You know, you have friends that say the wrong things or trying to understand, their heart's in the right place, but they step in it. Mm-hmm. And that has happened on the show, and they address that. They talk about it, and I love that. I'm as a woman of color, I love it. That is real life, and that's what happens. And women, people not non-black people,
probably
white
never
people,
yeah,
you know, that's what happens when they're trying. They're trying, but they just woke up.
Yeah, yes.
So they're trying to get it together and try to understand, and they sometimes,
which matters because
there's hiccups and missteps.
Yes,
and they portray that so well. To me as a Black woman, I totally related to that and have experienced that.
Yeah,
and I thought that was so well done.
Yeah, they're very conscious on a lot of fronts, but it's still entertaining. Yes. I think that's the beauty of it. It's still totally.
Yeah. They didn't just parachute them in.
Yes.
Like, oh, all of a sudden.
I mean, because before they lived in New York and there was not a Black person ever seen on the screen.
Not at the restaurant. They didn't even walk by no Black people. You hear me?
I thought I saw one Black person who was a street sweeper, and Lisa's like, I didn't see him. So well, maybe I just hope to see someone.
Just walking.
I mean, it's New York. Right? Someone there.
Not their neighborhood. But so they really addressed that really well to me. The other thing, Miranda's she's all the buzz, y'all. So,
oh yeah,
she was with Steve, and Steve, how would we describe Steve?
safe.
Steve is safe. Steve is sweet. And Steve is boring. They're having some issues. So she is living in a non-sexual marriage where it's kind of platonic. It's got to that state.
Yeah, kind of that platonic partnership.
Yes. And, Steve is still sweet as he can be.
They
have a son.
Yeah.
They are not enemies. Yeah. They're very amicable. They eat ice cream together and watch TV.
Yep.
But it is at the roommate stage. And Miranda is still a very vibrant woman. She has, because her marriage is in this state, I feel like she's filled her life with other things. So she's gone back to school. She's getting into...
So she has something to do.
Right. Kind of a civil rights type attorney. She wants to be... So someone awakens her sexuality. A non-binary character. And we
gets a little graphic.
We see Miranda come alive.
All puns intended.
Yes. So that's really a sticky wicket. So the thing that has been on the internet, everybody is up in arms about, what about Steve? What about Steve? What are we going to do with Steve? Yeah. So we want to kind of unpack that a little bit. And like we said, Steve is a doll. He's just sweet as he can be, but it is what it is. And my thing is that I think we have to stop judging relationships, the success of relationships, by their longevity.
Right.
So I still see Miranda and Steve as a very successful marriage. Now, it might not last. I don't know. But whether it does or it doesn't, they were successful in partnering. They have a son that they raised, that he's very near adulthood. He's, 17, 18 years, I guess 17. I don't think he's 18 yet. And by that standard, I would consider them successful.
All these years later, they don't hate each other. I mean, really, they get along well. It is simply just this element has just fizzled away.
She just might want something else.
It seems like this is not anything new. It has been lacking. And yeah, it's a toughie. From the entertainment perspective, girl, go get your freak on. I mean, come on now.
But she is.
It was a great shock. But now, as a married person, they're not me and my husband. Because a part of me is like, why don't you just talk about it? But everybody doesn't do well at that.
Yeah.
Everyone doesn't do well at that.
It is what it is. And then they've made Steve, which in real life, this actor has hearing deficit and does wear hearing aids. So they work that into the story.
Okay.
That Steve, he can't hear, he doesn't have the hearing aids on, or it's not turned up or something like that. So that's a thing which is very realistic. A lot of people have that issue.
Yes.
So, that was nice that they worked that in. I guess it's just not an issue for him. Like he doesn't feel
he doesn't feel as if he's lacking. This is not a situation where, she ain't giving it to him, but she giving it to someone else. He's interested on ice cream night on Friday night.
And watching Netflix.
And watching Netflix. And I ain't mad at him. I might be Steve. Yes.
We love Steve.
But she just has she has grown. She's walked down her path, and she just at a different point than he is.
Right.
Now, I kind of side with Carrie. I would say that Carrie is the main character, even if you've never seen the show.
Yes, she is.
Because, again, I've only seen like 2 episodes of this. Actually, 1.5. And just like that. Her thing, and correct me if I'm wrong, because you like watch it, is, okay, then you need to choose. And that part I do agree with. Like, if you don't want to be with Steve, don't be with Steve. At least give Steve the option to know. Now, Steve may say, hey, go get your kicks on, Route 66. Yeah. We don't know yet, but give him the option to choose.
Yeah. Well,
But then it wouldn't be good
We don't
TV.
know.
We
don't know because they at first she just had an episode with this person, just one episode. And now they've had another episode. So it might be turning into a thing. I don't know that this person is going to be a real relationship for her.
No.
Or is it just highlighting what's lacking in her life?
That's all it is. That's what I think
maybe that's what they're saying. Like, this is what I want.
Right.
And I don't have. Now, I don't know if I'm going to keep getting it with this person.
Right.
But
I would even argue she and Steve have a good relationship. So
they do.
If Steve could bring the fire, she'd be a happy woman.
Yeah, but they tried that.
Yeah, but I don't think
he had no fire. Which is a funny thing.
He's like that he's Cooper from Sex Life. He's Cooper.
That actor plays on Chicago Fire. You know, Steve does.
But he
couldn't bring fire for this. He just didn't.
That's funny.
He did not. So we don't know. We don't know how we feel about. We haven't decided.
So I think for me, what is important to me about this show, I've already said, which is representation. People aging, people going through things. So fun fact that Lisa is only finding out right now, I need hearing aids. It's a fun fact. So, and I didn't even pay attention to that because, I was trying to watch highlights. Y'all already know Lisa keeps me on the TV and it's not my thing.
They just said it in passing. Like they were, with some of the, I think at one of the recital or something. And she made a comment about Steve's hearing aids.
Yeah.
But then I read about him. In
real life, which I think,
so they just again added it.
That's a thing. Like I was really self-conscious about it, and I was like, "Oh my!" And my husband's like, "What's the big deal? Your ears aren't changing. You're just getting hearing aids." And I'm like, "I'm only 35." I'm just like, what are you gonna think? He's like, I'm gonna think you can hear me the first time I say stuff. I have to come in the same room.
Well, you can't tell on Steve. I mean,
no, you can't. They're very different.
Small.
Yeah, they're really small, and the thing is clear.
Tell.
But like, that's a real thing. That is a real life issue, and that my whole thing with the show, I don't care who's blinking who. I don't care about any of that stuff. I don't want to say I don't care who dies, but I mean, like, really, that part. Some people were just devastated and. Peloton stock went down for a little. I was like, y'all are just too serious about this. I don't care about any of that. I care that grown women are not being treated like mama's family with this little bitty curly wig.
Yes.
And I'm just here. Like there's so
well, and the thing that is happening to Miranda happens to a lot of people. And, ironically, I was just reading that women that age make up the highest percentage of divorce. Like they are asking for divorces.
They're asking, yes, they're requesting.
So they are wanting something else. They are saying, "This is not what I want anymore. I want to do something else."
I think a lot of us do what we've either seen modeled or what we're told. When you're young, it's very easy to either do what you've seen
just
modeled,
fall in line,
or do what you've been told. And so I know several people who. To know them now, you would never know. But it's like, oh yeah, girl was married and we had a house and we owned a business together. And I'm like, really?
Only not anymore. Yeah.
And not everyone's like me. I mean, I was very young. And I was like, Dad, I have a girlfriend and a boyfriend. And he's like, you can't have both. I'm like, why? What do you mean? And most people would think that this story goes into you can't have a girlfriend. No. My dad was like, you can't have a girlfriend and a boyfriend because you're cheating on someone and it could hurt their feelings. But my girlfriend brings me candy and my boyfriend holds my hand. My dad's like, you can't have it all. You got to pick one. I'm like, are you sure? Because they don't know about each other. I mean, this is my little 5th grade logic. But everyone, number one, I'm very grateful. Everyone doesn't have parents that are that welcoming. Because my dad's just this little old country guy. And, it would not be what you would think if you just saw him. But the other thing is, some people they just suppress. And they just keep going. They fall in line, like you said. And then they live a good chunk of life, and then they wake up and they're like, you know what?
Who am I?
Yeah. I'll be damned. I don't like vanilla ice cream. Turns out I like chocolate.
Well, it's really interesting.
It happens all the time.
Miranda, it's not... Because one of the friends was asking about, like, her are you just attracted to women now or whatever? But then Charlotte, the friend, was saying, but I had a dream about Che too. Just saying like,
yeah,
she's just sexy.
yeah, yeah.
And she's cool and all the things. So I don't know that Miranda, now in real life, this is true. She was straight, I guess, or maybe she's always been, I don't know, but she has children by a man.
Okay.
And then she fell in love with a woman in real life. In real life.
Okay. So look at this mirroring life.
She's kind of, mimicking
what
this happening. And I think I heard her say, with her current, I don't know if they're married or partner, that it wasn't so much like a woman. It was just this person.
It was that person. Yes.
She fell in love with this person.
She fell in love with that person.
So I think they are kind of mimicking that with Miranda.
Yeah.
I don't know if it's so much that I'm attracted to women as
because
I'm just attracted to this person.
See, that's the whole rules thing. That's putting too much on it. Maybe she just liked Che.
Yes,
that's it.
Yes, and she's very cool. She's very, she's very
Callie
different from Grey's Anatomy, y'all.
Yes.
And
all
she's
grown
so
up,
beautiful.
All
she is so beautiful to me. It has always been
you guys
gorgeous.
don't do anything, if you're like, I don't care about this show, just Google or YouTube the kitchen sex scene and you'll understand why Miranda is struggling, y'all.
Yeah.
And so, and I think that's it too, is she's just been same old. And then all of a sudden, there's just this explosion of passion and this, all these different things.
And that somebody sees her in that light.
Yes.
So for so long, she's been Steve's wife, Brady's mom.
Yeah.
She's just been doing her life.
And to be desired is a big...
That's what it is.
Just being wanted is an aphrodisiac. That's what it is. Yeah.
So that's really, really interesting.
Yeah. And it's like you said, it was her cup where the lack is.
Yes.
Hey, dedicated wife who cooks dinner. We have ice cream on Fridays. That cup's full.
Yes.
Being the boy's mom, cup is full. But that fiery passion of, I want you. I could do this. I could do that. That cup was empty for her. So now she is team, fill it up.
Yes.
I don't know.
So it's really interesting. We'll see where it goes.
Yeah.
I don't know if she's going to tell Steve. I don't know if Steve's down for it. I don't know if there's going to be a separation.
Yeah.
We don't know how it's turning out. I'm happy for her that she found someone. I really am, just because
I'm happy she's finding herself.
Yes.
That's important.
And what she wants to do. I love the storyline with her and her black professor.
Yes.
Who at first she kind of stepped in and misspoke and said some things, but now they've become really
they're
friends.
Yes.
And that's cool. So that's really heartening. The other interesting storyline is Charlotte, who has a 12-year-old that is, I don't know if I would say questioning her gender as much as
exploring. Is that a good word?
I was kind of, I had mixed feelings about this because, like I said, the kid is 12, which at 12, I'm not sure. But basically she says, I just don't feel like a girl. I think that was the statement that she made. But I was telling Natasha, I remember, because at that age, you're getting your period usually 12 or 13. And I remember thinking, God, I wish I was a boy. I mean, and I was serious.
Yeah, I know you were.
It wasn't so much like anything that you would think of traditionally gender-wise, like I want to look a certain way or wear.
You were just like, I would love to be rid of this issue.
Right. And then to do it every month, and then boys don't have babies, boys don't have, why couldn't I have been a boy? I for real
I
thought that. So part of me is thinking it's almost like that.
Yeah.
We
don't know yet.
Yes. So she's kind of tomboy.
Yeah.
And which a lot of girls are.
Yep.
So I don't know. And then she, but Charlotte and her husband, kudos to them. They're trying to do the right thing by her and acknowledge her feelings, say the right things, be the right things, be the good parents. And she talks to her gay friend about it. And he was like, but wasn't this the kid that wanted to be a dog last year or whatever, she's 12 years old. They do dumb stuff,
yeah.
and
they
mean
change
anything.
Yeah,
basically. So just, and that's kind of where I am on it. And I don't know if they'll take it all the way, if it's just kind of a, they're exploring.
Yeah. Cause you can have an identity crisis, for a lack of maybe better words, but you can kind of be in crisis about who you are, and who you think you want to be and who you actually want to be can be totally different.
Yes.
And in this case, I think that's a little bit of what they're touching on, what they're exploring.
Yes.
Is that she's like, well, what I am, either I don't think I fit the mold, or I don't want to be that.
Yes.
And then it's like, okay, so then what do you want to be?
She shares a room with the sister, and the sister is typically girly.
Yes.
She's a teenager, but she's doing teenager things, you know, makeup and whatever. And the room is very girly, pink and whatever. So this daughter, I don't want to do that.
Yes.
And so, can we paint over this part and the flowers and the thing? But, that wasn't, anybody could do that.
Right.
Like that, to me, that wasn't so much of a gender thing. So I don't know where they're going to take it.
Well, I think
I don't see a big thing about it. No. Like, I think it's just kind of a 12-year-old, like you said, exploring, finding herself.
I think nowadays, though, there's a push for a label. There's a push for a label on every damn thing. And I just don't understand. For the life of me, it drives me crazy. Because I'm like, why? Like, just let the person feel how they feel. You don't have to put a label on it. It's their damn feeling. Let them feel that way.
And they're 12.
And I don't care if they're 120. Shit, if they let them feel how they feel. So I think they might be covering the fact that there's a rush to put a label on things. And because of a label, you get a certain response. And that response may not be valid.
Or appropriate.
Like, let's say her parents went batshit and they're homophobic and transphobic, and for what? She just may be working through the fact that she's not a girly girl.
Yeah.
But we don't know. So, I think they may be covering
it.
Yeah.
But it's kind of interesting. But I remember a friend and I, we were, I don't know, I guess in junior high, and we read Gone with the Wind. And we were talking about, which is so, can you believe? Yeah, whatever. Would you want to be Melanie or Scarlett?
Ooh, good question.
And it was that kind of a thing, like, but Melanie is the nice one. Yeah. She just does the right thing.
Yeah.
But Scarlett has all the fun.
Hello, guys.
Who do you want to be? And it's kind of, in a weird way like that. Like,
it is.
Who are you?
Well, we literally named our daughter Scarlett after Scarlett O'Hara. I don't know if you knew that.
Yeah, I think you did tell me that.
Yeah, so that's a book I've read. It was the first movie we ever watched together, and her name is Scarlett.
My grandmother used to take me to downtown Albuquerque to see Gone with the Wind. You back in the day, y'all, there was no cable, there was no streaming, and movies like that. I guess every year, every couple of years, it would
with a
come
fabulous
downtown,
intermission,
and you would watch it on the big screen and pay money and everything. So I saw it and read the book, and there are some totally inappropriate stuff in it, but it is a beautiful story, and there's a whole romance thing. But so I think it's those kind of questions.
Yeah,
who am I? Who do I want to be?
Because at 12, I don't care. Even if there are children having sex at 12. Unfortunately, even if you are, you don't know what the fuck you want.
Yeah,
you don't know.
I don't think she's one of them.
Yeah, no, I don't either. But I'm just saying, you don't know. She's just trying to figure out who she is.
Yeah.
My thing is animated, everything. And there is a Bob's Burgers episode that was in this last season. So my daughter's middle name is Louise, and she's named after the little fiery girl on there. Her name is Louise. And she's like in this panic. And I'm like, what's wrong? And she was like, but what's wrong with me? Because I don't like any of that stuff. And like her older sister is like boy crazy, and she's just so different. And it shows her have this like moment of like, what's wrong with me? What's wrong with me? Because she don't want her makeup.
I don't fit in.
I don't fit any of these molds. And I'm great with the guys. I get along great with them, but like I'm a girl, and so what do I do? And so it was really well done. It was, animation has a way of doing things where you're like, but
to get you thinking,
but it's not too serious because it's an animated character and she wears pink bunny ears everywhere. But I thought about it. I'm like, there are so many people. This is really what it is. But they're getting slapped with these labels. And then it just causes.
Because you're having these questions, you have to be this.
Yes.
Kind of. Yes. But kudos to
her parents.
And just like that, because in the scene, she's reading, Charlotte, the mom, is reading to her. And I think the character in the book said something. And then, her name is Rose, but she wants to be called Rock. And so
which is a badass name.
Yeah.
I mean, we've got Che, we've got Rock. I mean, at this point,
she goes, I don't feel like a girl. And so Charlotte says, sometimes I don't either.
Yeah.
So I mean, which is totally true. And then she asked this big sister, "Do you, Lily? Do you feel like a girl all the time?" So it's kind of a thing, and they're finding their way, and that's a great storyline. So I love that. So I guess I'm giving it a 2 thumbs up. I'm really enjoying it, and like I said, because there's so little representation of people my age, women my age, in a positive light. So I'm loving that. And for you millennials that are not feeling it, just FYI, this is how real women act. Yes. Not those real housewives.
And I want to tell you,
everything are still just mired in high school.
Yeah, and everything ain't for you. Everything isn't.
Wait a while, baby, because you'll catch up. Right. You will be there.
And that's my thing. I'm like, this is a good example to me, like in a role model type of sense, which still matters even as you get older. Like these are practical.
As you age, you can be vibrant. Yes. You can have a life. You can do things. You can change things.
Yes.
You can change your mind.
Yes.
Like I love Miranda going back to school and like, I did this.
Yes.
I'm going to do something else.
Yes. There's so many issues here. Even coping. She was filling her time to cope. Yes.
And so drinking. Drinking, meditating. That's right. There's so many.
And so now we have to look at, okay, wait. Do I like Che? Do I even like Che? Or is this really like, shit, this is just another coping mechanism. This is just something else I'm doing because I don't want to face the fact that this is lacking and I either got to put up or shut up. So for me, as a non-Sex and the City fan, I have no intentions of watching the show. I mean, I won't go back.
She's honest, y'all.
I'm honest. I'm not interested in it at all. But I do.
For my fellow boomers out there, y'all, I'm hooking y'all up. Tune in. If you're a boomer, you will love it.
But what am I?
Or boomer, or what's after boomers? Are those, is it X? Who's
Gen
after
X
boomers? Gen X. Y'all, boomers and Gen X.
But see, I'm a millennial and I love it. I think, and just like that, it is something to aspire to. Because one day my kids aren't going to be itty bitty babies. These are all real life issues.
Yes, they are.
That happen. And so I love it. I do. I think it's really good. I think people have the tendency to not want things to change. This isn't The Simpsons, y'all.
Yeah.
Okay. Bart is not still in the same age group. Lisa's the same. Maggie's still a baby. No, they've grown. It's not supposed to be Sex in the City. This is
which is what's supposed to happen. Yes. Unlike reality TV, where
for crying out loud, even stuck. They're stuck. Yes. And that's where their ratings come from. That's their jam. Whatever. We don't know them in real life. We just know what they're portraying. But is that who you want to be? I mean, maybe it is, and if it is, do you? But I'm trying to be.
I love to see the growth. Yes. I love to see the growth. I love to. It's just been so heartwarming, eye-opening for me. I've enjoyed it.
I like it. And like I said, as someone who didn't watch Sex in the City, I have no interest in it. And just like that, I think is amazing. I think it's really good.
Yeah. So tune in. 2 thumbs up.
Yeah, I'm going to give it 2 thumbs up. And y'all know, I ain't like Lisa. Some of these shows will be like, girl, I can't do this anymore. Now, I'm not doing good.
Okay.
I don't have a sexiest man alive.
Okay, well, I am going to pick John Tenney. Now, if you are watching And Just Like That, he is Carrie's first date after Big. Ooh. But y'all know him because he played on The Closer. He played on Desperate Housewives.
Wait.
He was married to Terry Hatcher in real life. You know him. If you see him, you know him. But he's aged really well. And you know what else he was in, y'all? Wild Mountain Thyme, which if you have not seen it, it's the sweetest little rom-com. But he's got a cameo in that. And I just remembered that. But he's very cute. He's a good first date. I don't know where they're going to take it. They have another date.
Probably not too far.
Probably not too far. But he's cute, and so I'm going to pick him.
Okay, that's fair. So mine, I'm choosing. You know, last week I had a few, and I just rolled one over. Nothing to do with the episode. Wait, did you already pick Pierce Bronson?
He can go again.
That was my pick. I
Yeah,
just saw him
I
in
love
something
him.
recently.
I
And
can take him every week
I was
too.
like, my God, this man has aged
Beautifully.
so well. So well.
Beautiful.
So he's my pick for. I mean, it has nothing to do with any of this.
No, just that he's a
He just
beautiful,
is,
age appropriate man. Yeah.
Well, he's technically not age appropriate for me, but
for and just like that he is.
yes, but that's what I was gonna say. But he could have not a cameo, but he could have an appearance on there, and it would be.
Oh yeah, wouldn't that?
That would be fun.
Y'all.
Hint, hint, y'all.
Yes. Wouldn't he be good?
Now I'm writing in all of the older men that I think are attractive in my brain.
But Charlotte on the show, I love this too. She and Harry are so happily married. Just FYI.
Yes.
So they're hitting all the bases.
And that's what I was about to say. But this is just it. That's life.
That's life.
There's
in a group
gap.
of friends.
Yes.
There's going to be widows.
The movie was 15 years ago.
Divorced. Some are still married. That's
as far
life.
as we know, Miranda and them hadn't had sex since the last movie. You know, I mean, really, we don't know.
She said I think she said for years.
Did she say?
What did she say? She made a reference to. I can't remember. It's been a long time.
Yeah, it's been.
They're just
and people change, desires change, hotspots change.
Y'all, stop with Steve. If she got to go, she got to go. I'm sorry. Now Steve is sweet and all that.
Yeah,
but now come on.
Yeah,
come on.
Really, I will say this. I'm the type. I'm not going to cheat. I'm just going to go. That's just my personality. Yeah. So I'm like, I would rather her leave and they can remain friends than an affair topple his opinion of her. Yes. And then
so that's
when it gets messy.
We'll see. Hopefully.
Do you have a prediction? Just for Steve, how his reaction would be?
I mean, what could he say? I mean, you haven't been doing it, so you have to be, what's your defense? I mean, he can't, I don't know why he'd be hurt or whatever. I guess his defense
would be, I thought we were both happy.
Yeah, well, okay. I don't know about that. But I think she'll probably leave. I hope she does. I don't see her and Che as a long-term thing.
I want her to leave for herself. I don't want her to leave.
She and Carrie will be the ones dating. I mean, that'll bring back the kind of Sex and the City dynamic. Of you're just out there and dating and trying to find your way. The difference is at this age, you don't, since your clock is not ticking, you don't have that. Yes. I got to have someone. Yes,
and you're not going to put up with bullshit.
Thing. Right. So that's kind of interesting. We'll see.
Yeah.
We'll see. But it's a great story.
That could be a fun dynamic.
Yeah. But y'all stop with Steve already. We don't want to hear it.
You don't want to hear it.
He is a nice guy, but Steve might have to go.
He might. I'm curious to see. I'm not
nice,
gonna lie.
But he'll be nice over there in his own place.
See, y'all see where Lisa stands.
I'm sorry.
Well, guys, it was nice having you as usual, and we will be back next week with more.
Thanks.